Hey guys, it's djflowtunes. So today I'm in my garage. I want to see if I could do a speaker test between my RCF 8004 and my QSC KS118. Now I have a pair of the RCF 8004 subwoofers alongside the R945A, and then I also have a pair of the KS118 alongside the K12.2s. Now, I'm sure most of you may have noticed I painted my QSC KS118 white alongside my K12.2s. The reason why I did that was because I tend to do a lot of big events, and the white speakers that are available on the market today, their power is just not enough for what I need. For example, now the EV ELX 200, they come in white, but they are not as powerful as what I need. The Evox 12 as well, they're just not even going to cut it. If the ALX 200P cannot cut it, then definitely those ones won't be able to cut it. So I decided to paint my QSC KS118 and my K12.2s white. It's still the same thing, it's just that I painted it white. Now I have my 8004 alongside my R945. So basically I wanted to demo both of them, especially the two subwoofers, to see where each one of them is ahead on the game. Now, in my opinion, I know what I think, but I just want you guys to hear what it sounds like, and maybe you guys form your own opinion for people who are stuck between choosing the KS118 and the 8004s. I'm going to remove the camera from the stand just to walk around so that you guys can see what it is. What I'm going to do, usually most people tend to put the subwoofers when they are doing a sound test on Unity. I don't want to do that. I'm going to push them as far as I can just before it starts to limit, and then I'll know where each subwoofer's capacity reaches, and then we'll hear the sound output at that point. I also have a dB meter, an SPL meter, and I'm going to be testing the frequency as well, just to see how low each of the subs can go. So I'm going to remove everything and then show you guys. But for those who don't know, the QSC KS118 is 3600 watts peak output. So I'm thinking maybe 1800 watts RMS. The 8004 is 2500 watts peak. So I'm thinking 1250 RMS. According to RCF, it goes down to 30 hertz. And it has an SPL rating of 136 dB. Now for the KS118, I'm not too sure of the specs. I may be able to post the specs up once I'm done with the test so that you guys can see what it is. In fact, that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm going to post the specs up of both of them so that you guys can know what it is. Without further ado, let's get cracking. So for most of my folks who don't know what it looks like at the back of the 8004s, this is what it looks like at the back of the 8004s. So that's just the amp section. You have the basic stuff, the sensitivity knob, signal input, signal output, crossover output, and then these are the DSP functions. You have the deep, the punch, the low pass, 90 hertz, 120 hertz, phase, and of course if you want to do cardioid, that's it over there, as well as the sub delay for easy alignment of your tops alongside your subs. Now this is for the QSC KS118, so this is basically it. It's the same thing. Most people know what this QSC amp looks like, and there it is. So we'll be testing the subwoofers first without any tops so that we can just hear what each subwoofer sounds like. I'm going to use my dB meter as well, my SPL meter as well, to check everything just to make sure that we can actually get the proper measurements for both subs. So once we've done that, then we can use the tops as well, just to be able to add some clarity and some vocals to the soundtrack that is being played. But we'll start with the subs without any tops, and then later on we will introduce the tops as well. We'll go through a few genres. We'll probably do Afro beats, we may do reggae, probably do hip hop, just a few things so that we can have a good feel of what to expect with the sound. So we're going to run a frequency sweep on the two subwoofers. We're going to start out at the lowest frequency point as specified by each manufacturer. So for QSC, I think the lowest is 35 Hertz, and for RCF 8004, the lowest is 30 Hertz. So we're going to start with 30 Hertz on the RCF to hear how it sounds, how it performs. For this one, I'm going to try to put the volume on unity just to make sure that it's as fair as possible. I know RCF says that the volume knob is not a volume knob, it's just a sensitivity knob, and really and truly should put it on full blast, but I don't know, let me just put it on unity just to be on the safe side with everything. The same thing I'm going to do for the QSC as well. So when we're going to run the other test, we're going to put it close to the limit, but for now, we're just going to put both of them at 12 o'clock and leave it at that. And then we'll start with the 30 Hertz. I'm going to try and feed the QSC 30 Hertz as well. Let's just see what it sounds like. You never can say. So we're going to start now. I'll put it at 30 Hertz. We'll start with the RCF and then we go to the QSC. So we'll be interchanging it like that at each frequency level for each frequency sweep. Now, I understand that it's not a fair comparison because the QSC goes to 35 according to their specs and RCF does 30 Hertz according to the specs. In my opinion, the QSC was barely audible, like you could barely hear anything. The RCF, you could still hear some vibration going on. It wasn't that loud, but you could still hear a good decent amount of vibration really going on. So, true to form, RCF 30 Hertz specs claims is true. You can actually hear the 30 Hertz. You can feel it coming out of the sub. With QSC, their 35 Hertz is actually true because you could barely, you couldn't hear anything. You could barely feel anything from the QSC. So that's also true as well. So based off of that, both manufacturers are true on those specs with that regard. So we're going to go to a new frequency sweep. I'm going to try to see if I have 35 Hertz frequency sound test on it, and then we'll try the 35 Hertz till we get to their sweetest spots. For the 35 Hertz, the RCF, you could hear it, you could feel it properly. Now with the QSC, you could hear the 35 Hertz, but you necessarily couldn't feel anything. But you could hear that there was movement and there was sound coming out of the subwoofer. So now we're going to jump into 40 Hertz and then we're going to hear both of them and hear how it sounds. So in my opinion, at 40 Hertz, the RCF was significantly louder than the QSC, and you could significantly feel more bass coming out of the RCF than the QSC. You could hear some volume from the QSC, quite alright, but you could start, there was some slight vibration from my garage door. So it was doing some work, but it was nowhere near as close as what the RCF was outputting. To ask me, the RCF was significantly louder and significantly deeper than the QSC on the 50 Hertz frequency sweep. Now, the QSC also was loud, it's just that it was not as loud as the RCF. You could also feel some bass, it's just that it was not as much as the RCF. Hz sound test, the RCF was also louder than the QSC, but the QSC was really close. Like, you could hear in the sound output that the QSC was a bit close to the RCF. And of course on the bass sensation side as well, how deep it goes, or what the perception you get from the sound. The RCF was better than the QSC, but the QSC was equally quite good. Probably know what I'm about to say. The RCF beat out the QSC in volume and bass sensation. I mean, it was very noticeable. Like, you could notice it, so it wasn't even up for debate. So that's what it is. Again, the RCF beat out the QSC in the 80 Hz frequency sound. So now, of course, the RCF beat out the QSC again. RCF beat out the QSC in the 100 Hz sound test in terms of both volume and bass sensation. RCF beat out the QSC in the frequency sweep. I think both of them, their sweet spot is from 50 to 75 Hz. Anything below that, you will get something, no doubt, especially with the RCF, up to what the manufacturer says. You will get something, but the sweetest spot, at least for both of them, is 50 Hz to 75 Hz. That's where you can get good volume from both subs and good bass sensation from both subs. With regards to the QSC, anything below 35 Hz you're never going to get anything. That I can tell you much. With 35 Hz, it's still you're just going to be able to get like slight volume. No bass sensation, none of that stuff at all. With the RCF, you would hear something, you would feel something. When you get up to 35 to the 40 Hz, with RCF, you will still hear something, you will still feel something. With QSC, it's still a struggle at that point. Up all the way till around 45, maybe 50 Hz, then you can start feeling something with the QSC. But overall, the frequency specs, according to the manufacturers, they are, in my opinion, I think they are both spot on. They didn't quote what they couldn't deliver, but you would have wanted more from, whatever it is they said they were going to give you. But at least you could still see something from the specs that they gave you. Now, the next test we're going to do is going to be the SPL reading on both subwoofers without the tops playing at all. So it's just going to be the output from the subs. We're going to do an SPL reading from both of them. I'm going to get as close as possible. I'll probably use a tape measure to measure my distance between both from where I will be with the SPL meter, and then I'll go back and then we'll still try the same thing and see what we can get. So that'll be the next test, and then we'll see what happens in that test. another sound test with the tops, and in my case this is the RCF at 945A alongside the 8004 subs, and then we'll be doing the QSC K12.2 alongside the KS118. I'll start with the 8004 right about now. And remember guys, I'm also going to be using the system till they are limiting. For the at 945, it's going to be hard to limit that speaker. For those people who know the RCF at 945A, they can testify to what I'm telling you. These speakers are really, really hard to limit, and if you're going to limit them, you're probably going to start hurting your ear real soon if you're within a close proximity to the speaker. And I'm in my garage, so I don't know if I can get that to limit. I've only gotten it to limit, I think about 2 or 3 times, and that was at real big events. The other one was in my basement, and I pushed it as much as I could. And that's when I started to see the limit light come on. But for here, I don't know if I can get that to limit. I think we're just going to work with trying to limit the subs, and then we'll hear the output together and how the top couples and sounds with the sub. So we're going to start with the RCF now, and then we'll go on to the QSC.
And I'm shining bright 'cause I'm really grinding. They ask me if I'm real. I know they gon' love this shit. All my diamonds shine 'cause they really matter. It's the light, they be really trying. They ask me if I'm lying. I say really real. Got money on my mind. I say really real. I look like I've been balling up, really balling. I wanna ride or die, I'm not really sorry. They ask me if I'm lying, I say really real. I'm really on my mind, I say really real. I made 'em believe. I'm already done, and I'm shining bright 'cause I'm really grinding. They ask me if I'm real. All my diamonds shine, but they really diamond. It's the line, they be really trying. They ask me if I'm lying, I say really real. Got money on my mind, I say really real. I look like I've been balling 'cause I'm really balling. I wanna ride or die, I'm not really sorry. They ask me if I'm lying, I say really real. I'm really on my mind, I say really real. I made 'em believe.
Drunk rock, no type right, no smart mark. I saw the vibe now, oh, look at that. Hey, original gun come to me now. Look around in I am my friend. Original gun come to me now. The sweet daddy him come back again. Now if you super gas man, you a dan dada. Me fling the whole savannah, the boy with the bomber. Me the hooligan man from the it a hammer. Me gonna with me fireman, it is a typewriter. And the part me come from the rock to a parrot. And me all and me go in a the ghetto sound killer. Me gonna with the hammer, me don't carry trigger. You press slow bound and a tears a fire. Me honor for me mama and me honor for me dada. She so that me days not you let up in the lava. And these are the words of the mighty mighty judge who sit up in a Zion in a sweet in the fire. And a judge of thing like in a judge of dash thunder. They care for man like any judge of in the data. Come on it, original gun come to me now. Thinking that the game come back bro. No type right, that's not mark. No 45 now, oh, look at that. Hey, original gun come to me now. No ranking, I am the friend. Original gun come to me now. The sweet that the game come back again. Now we say super cat man, you a dan dada. Me fling you savannah, the boy with the bomber. Me pick up the man from the it a hammer. Me gonna with me fireman, it is a typewriter. And the spot me come from the rock to a Hey, baby, now you're sign, baby girl, I want it. All of the things what you do, I want press. Now me and you, everything I want it. Every duty, make it, I want it. If not Chris, baby girl, I want Chris. If not dead, baby girl, I want it. If I inside, baby girl, I want it. Girl, you find I can't take every second, say that might be. We go take, we go play, you go shake on what the night, you don't play, you say no one like me. You go take, I go pay, you go pay, on what the night, maybe tell me I be gaspy. I know they run, but we go take, I go show you how they make, show you how they fighting, I'm a street. You're my Hey, baby, now you're sign, baby girl, I want it. All of the things what you do, I want Chris. Now me and you, everything I want it. Every beauty, make it, I want it. If not Chris, baby girl, I want Chris. If not there, baby girl, I want it. If I decide, baby girl, I want it. Girl, you find I can't take every second, say not like me. We go take, we go play, you go shake on what the night, you do, and you don't say no one like me. You go take, I go pay, you go pay on what the night, maybe tell me I be gaspy. I know they run, so play, we go take, I go show you everything, make show me how to dance. Fighting.
Both, Godfather, man a OG, man a half humble, man a boasty. Fling a rag a rhythm like it's all free. Both, house on the coast street. My money so long it doesn't know me. It's wicked in my kids like a boasty.
Hey yo, bitches, tell them what they gonna take with this. When you step out, do that kind of business. My body comfortable and they physically fit. I'm brown and sweet, just like the chocolate. Yo, why? Them more so like me. Then I put you pretty with the upper body. Struggle in the city with my back and my feet. Every man want piece of me. The back of them up and my body. Man want wine behind me, me have to move and just see. I'm looking for a brother who got hella pound. 079, baby, I'm a hammer, did you stop?
Both, Godfather, man a OG, man a half humble, man a boasty. Fling a rag a rhythm like it's all free. Both, house on the coast street. My money so long it doesn't know me. It's wicked in my kids like a boasty.
Hey yo, bitches, tell them what they gonna take with this. When you step out, do that kind of business. But they comfortable and they physically fit. I'm brown and sweet, just like the chocolate. Yo, why? Them more someone like me. Then I put you pretty with the upper body. Shuttle in the city with my back and my feet. Every man want piece of me. The back of them up and my body. Man want wine behind me, me have to move and just see. I'm looking for a brother who got hella pound. 079, baby, I'm a hammer, did you stop?
So now we're going to look at the size difference between the two subs. Now, if you look at it, the RCF is bigger and slightly wider. QSC is shorter and narrower. That's what makes the QSC KS118 easier to handle and manage by yourself. And it's the size of the RCF that discourages people from getting the 8004s. That's why some people prefer the 8003s, because of the size. It's much easier to handle and manage the 8003 all by yourself. Now with the 8004s, it's very difficult. I have never tried carrying the 8004s myself. I won't even try it because it's very awkward to lift up by yourself. However, with the QSC, I can still lift that up easily by myself without any issues because of the narrow size of the system. It's much easier to put your hands on the handles to be able to carry it and lift it up if you need to do so. Now with the 8004s, I did get the wheels for it to make it much easier to move around and, you know, wheel it around, because there's no way I'm carrying it. And whenever I want to use the RCF, I have ramps, I load it onto my van, and then that's how I do it. I don't carry anything anymore because I'm no longer a baby. I can't afford to take those chances and then go and hear a crack in the back. Nah, none of that's about to happen, and I've passed that stage. So I have it on wheels. I have my ramp. I put my ramp at the edge of the van, and I roll it in, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I'm gonna take you to the back of the system, because the way the casters on the RCF are placed, it's very easy for you to scratch the lower part of the sub on either side. So what I did do was I put like a foam guard on the back of the sub to make it easy to place it on the floor. I'm gonna go back now and I'm gonna show you guys. So this is what I did put on the sub. So anytime I want to place it down, I make sure that this part lands on the floor first, and then I put it together, because I realized that if you do put it on the ground, boom, just like that, you're gonna hit all the edges. And that's why if you notice, people who have the 8004s, the edges, especially the ones at the back of the wheels, yeah, those ones always have the paint chips and the wood chips. But if you have this is like a foam guard. Yeah, so when you place it, it is the foam that hits the ground, and then you can put it on the floor safely without damaging your investment. So that's the way I do it. And then with regards to the QSC, I put this cardboard here. It is to prevent the wheel vibrations and rattling. Now the QSC like the wheels of the QSC, they vibrate a whole lot. I kid you not. You can ask anybody who has the KS118, and then they will verify what I'm saying. So I put this here to make the wheels as stable as possible. Although it still rattles and it still vibrates a bit, it's just that it is not as bad as without this cardboard spacing over there. Without this cardboard spacing, trust me, man, even with the volume, you'll still be able to hear it. I guarantee you that much. And once you start hearing it, it's going to start becoming a rather annoying stuff. So with this, it reduces the rattling and it reduces the vibration. So this is basically what it is. So I have a pair of this for my white setup and the RCF for my black setup. So guys, that was the test between the QSC KS118 and the RCF 8004. Now, I'm going to give my full opinion on what I think on both subwoofers. So for me personally, I think the RCF 8004 subwoofers are better than the QSC KS118. Now, the specs and the price should let you know that it is better than the QSC KS118, because the RCF is significantly more expensive than the QSC KS118. And then the specs show that it's significantly better, even though both manufacturers say 136 dB SPL. Now, with regards to the RCF, the merits, or the thing that I think I don't like about the RCF, is the size and the price. The size is really very awkward. Like, it's big, and it's big in a funny way, in the sense that it's really hard to be able to manage that subwoofer all by yourself. And that's the reason why I use ramps to load it into my van, to make sure that I don't have any reason to try and lift it up at all. I don't want to start hearing any cracks at my age. I just can't take that kind of chance. So the size, it's a really big issue for a lot of people. And like I said, that's why a number of people prefer to get the 8003s as opposed to the 8004s, because it's much easier to manage. Now, the other demerit is also the price. The price is it's a bitter pill to swallow for a number of people, because it's significantly more expensive than the QSC KS118, and also significantly more expensive than his younger sibling, the 8003 Mark III subwoofer by RCF. And it's probably going to be significantly still more expensive than the new RCF Sub 18AX that RCF is about to release. So I'm sure it's going to be significantly more expensive as well, because I've spoken to one of the RCF reps and he did make mention that it's going to be more expensive regardless. So the price can be an issue for a lot of people. That's the reason why some people may opt for the 8003s or other subs at a lower category. Now, the benefits of the RCF 8004. I kid you not, the bass out of that subwoofer is really, really nice. It's loud and it's the bass that you can actually feel. It's loud and it's low. I tell people all the time, you see, a lot of times subwoofers are not just about how low it goes. There are three major, well, I'll say four major things that I try to let people know about subwoofers: the sound, the size, the weight, and the price. Now, with regards to the sound, you have to always consider how loud it gets, how low it goes, and how quick the subwoofer limits. Now, in this category, the RCF 8004 gets pretty loud. It goes quite low, as we heard with the frequency sound test. And it does not limit so quickly. It limits, don't get me wrong, but it does not limit so quickly. Like you can feel it's about to start limiting when you hear the sound. You already know that this is significantly really loud. So if it starts limiting at this point, you wouldn't be upset. So those are the things I actually want people to understand. And with that sound test in my head, the RCF 8004 did surprisingly very, very well. Now, you also have to look at the size. I've spoken about the size, and I wasn't big on the size. I'm not happy with the size, but I understand why they probably made it that way, because there's only so much an 18-inch subwoofer can do. A lot of times, physics determines how big the box is going to be, because you're trying to achieve sound pressure levels that you feel is up to the standard of your reputation of your brand. So I understand with regards to the size. Now, with the weight as well, I'm not too sure how heavy it is because I've never tried lifting it up before, but like I said, I'll put the specs up so that you guys can see how heavy the subwoofer is. And of course, with the price, I mentioned it about the price. That is one of the huge demerits about the RCF 8004, because it's a pretty expensive subwoofer. Street price, you're looking at $3,500, but I'm sure you're going to get good discounts from retailers that you trust and you can always reach out to. I have a good retailer for myself at Guitar Center. He's a fantastic guy. I'll leave his details below if you guys would be interested in contacting him. He's a very wonderful chap. He will help you guys out and get you guys a good deal. And so that's the basic thing about it with the RCF. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful speaker. Now with the QSC, of course, I'm going to look at those same metrics to determine how good it is: the sound, the weight, the size, and the cost. Now, with regards to the sound, like I said, low, how loud it gets, how quick it limits. Now, the QSC KS118 gets really loud. I have to be honest with you. It gets really, really loud. You'll be very surprised about how loud it gets. But it doesn't get as low as the RCF. Of course, you must have heard it also when we did the frequency test. It doesn't go anywhere as low as what the RCF can get. And I understand that, because QSC also never said it was going to get down to 30 hertz and all those kind of numbers. They never quoted that. I think they did 35 hertz. I'll put the specs up. I think they did 35 hertz. But even at the 35 hertz, you could just hear something. You couldn't really feel anything or do anything unlike what RCF was given. So it doesn't get that low. I mean, you have to choose your battles properly. And then with regards to how quick it limits, in my opinion, it does not limit quick. A lot of people have been saying that, the KW181 was the workhorse. It hardly ever limited this, that. The KS118, in my opinion, it doesn't limit that fast as well. In fact, to me, I felt the RCF limited before the QSC. Now, you have to understand that the RCF goes way lower than the QSC, so maybe that's what making the RCF limit faster than the QSC. But the QSC didn't limit that fast, and in my opinion, I actually felt the RCF limited before the QSC did. But you could feel that the RCF was giving you more bass than what the QSC was able to give you, even though the RCF was limiting before the QSC started limiting. Now, with regards to the size, the QSC is to me, that is like the perfect size for a subwoofer. You can carry it, you can easily manage it. One person can easily, handle that subwoofer by themselves without any assistance or any help. And that's one thing I love about the QSC KS118. That size, oh my God, is beautiful. The weight as well, yeah, it's a little over 100 pounds, but you can still manage it. If you're in the DJ business, you're carrying heavy equipment. So you have to be able to carry at least something like that. So in my opinion, the weight is also equally good. I mean, it's manageable. It's not like it's a featherweight. It's not a featherweight, but it's manageable. It's something that if you've been gigging for a while and you've been carrying heavy equipment without any disabilities, you should be able to carry the QSC KS118. Now, with regards to the cost, it's a sweet spot. I mean, street price of $2,000, you can't go wrong with that. That's a very reasonable price for what that sub is giving. And I have to say this as well. QSC KS118 has been getting a lot of bad rep from many DJs and many sound enthusiasts saying that, oh, the KS118 is junk, is this, is that. No, I think for the price, the performance, and the weight, and the size of what you're getting out of that box, that subwoofer is still the best bang for your buck, period. Because if you're going to be going to the RCF, you're looking at 3,500 versus QSC's 2,000. That's a good $1,500 difference. How many people are willing to justify buying the RCF over the QSC for a $1,500 difference? In your ears, is it going to be that difference in price? Is it going to be worth it to you? I don't know. That's a decision that only you guys who want to buy it can make. But to me, and in my opinion, the QSC KS118 is by far the best subwoofer in terms of size, weight, output, and price. Bar none. No other subwoofer can come close in regards to those 4 categories that I put it in. Now, if cost, weight, and size was not the issue, is the RCF 8004 better than the QSC KS118? Definitely. It is definitely better. It is better in volume. It's better in how deep it goes. It's better in whether it limits or not. Like, it's better in every way, shape, and form. You know, so if the size and the weight as well as the cost was not, and I mean, it wasn't a big deal for you and you can afford to buy the RCF, make no bones about it. The RCF 8004 is definitely better than the QSC KS118, and it's significantly better because you would feel it. Now, if you were to then add it with the RCF at 9458, I guarantee you, man, you're gonna have a killer system. Like, it'll be all bets off at that time. Like, the QS will be, it will even be able to get anywhere close to that output. And I can almost say, other than you going to like high-end pro audio level kind of sound, like the Meyer L Acoustics, those kind of folks, that combination of the 8004s and the RCF at 945s, you cannot beat it. On this prosumer level, I guarantee you cannot beat the output that you will get. Then also, there's also another thing that I wanted to mention as well. With the at 945, because a couple of my friends have asked me before that how does it perform in conjunction with the 8004. And I can tell you confidently and easily, the RCF at 945 outruns the 8004. Like, there's no debate. It outruns it completely. Like, you can tell easily. So what I do when I use the at 945s with the 8004 is I activate the boost on the at 945, but I didn't use it for the sound test. But normally at events, that's what I do. I activate the boost, the bass boost on the at 945 just to help out the 8004s. Now, people may say, no, wouldn't that make the at 945 limit quickly? No, it doesn't. The at 945 does not limit that quick at all. I can tell you that much. It does not limit that quick. In fact, it's really hard to limit the at 945A. So that's what I do, you know, to help the 8004 with the bass when you're using it with the at 945. Didn't even mention. The 8004 has a crossover out that you can actually use while using any tops with it. Don't even bother using that crossover output for the at 945, because then you'll just kill the 8004s. Like, you'll never even be able to keep up at all, because the at 945 would then be significantly, like really significantly louder than the 8004, and trust me, you will not like that sound at all. So don't even bother using that. So in my opinion, if size wasn't the problem, transportation wasn't the problem, handling a subwoofer wasn't the problem, the best companion, in my opinion, for the at 945A will be the RCF 8006, not the 8008, because the 8008 is just two 8003s put together in one box. No, not that one. I mean the RCF 8006. That's the dual version of the 8004s. In my opinion, that is the subwoofer that can actually keep up properly with the Art 945. Now, a lot of people may not be able to handle a dual 18, and I understand that, because even myself at my age, there's no way I'm going to be handling that. Now, if I was much younger, like let's say in my 20s and stuff like that, that would have been the subwoofer I've gotten for the Art 945s, no question, because that system, imagine you have two 8006 with two Art 945As, I guarantee you, man, there's almost no kind of event you won't be able to handle, other than maybe like festivals and like 3,000, 4,000 capacity events. But if you had that setup, you'll be able to easily handle like 500, 750. I mean, I can almost boldly say even up to 1,000 person event. Because trust me, that Art 945 is really, really loud. I kid you not. It's a really loud speaker. If you stand close to it when you increase the volume to the point that the red light starts to flash, you're going to hurt your ears. I tell you that for free. So if you then use that kind of the 8006, because the 8006 also have an also has a crossover output. If you use the crossover output on the 8006 and feed the Art 945, you best believe it's going to get even louder, because it's going to cut off all the low frequencies from 90 hertz and below. So the Art 945 is going to get significantly louder. So you then even be able to get more volume out of that box. So in my opinion, if cost and size, weight management, handling it is not a problem for you, the RCF 8006 is the best companion for the Art 945A. So my opinion generally, the RCF 8004 is a much better subwoofer than the QSC KS118. If cost, size, weight were not issues for you, and you had enough money, like you have deep pockets, and you're trying to find a subwoofer to buy between the KS118 and the 8004, it's a no-brainer. The 8004 beats the KS118 properly, like it beats it properly, like there's no debate, it beats it properly. But if cost was an issue for you, size was an issue for you, weight was an issue for you, ease of transportation is an issue for you, then the KS118 is still, and I make bold to say, it is still the best bang for your buck out there. I don't want anybody to believe all the unnecessary hype. Oh, the KS118 they're not good subwoofers, they're useless, they're this, they're that. Yeah, a lot of people are just saying a whole lot of nonsense. Everybody tries to jump on the bandwagon of I want to have the best, I want to have the high-end speaker. No, at the end of the day, your clientele, your guests, I kid you not, most of the time, a lot of them will not be able to tell the difference in the sound. The reason why I can tell the difference because I've listened to both of them side by side. And once you have listened to both of them side by side, it's very hard to unhear it. It is that sound you'd be chasing. But if your guests have never heard those kind of things and they are none the wiser, maybe they are drunk or they are high or they are feeling good at a party, trust me, they're not going to tell you your KS118 sounds like garbage. They're not going to tell you that. If they hear the RCF 8004, would they think it's better? Probably they will. But if they've never heard it before, they wouldn't tell you your KS118 is garbage. They will probably like it, and it will probably produce good sound and good enough bass for most people. Now, if you're a bass head like me, you would always want to keep striving to get a better subwoofer, striving to get a better subwoofer, striving to get a better subwoofer. So you then have to decide. But if money, weight, size was not an option, the RCF is the way to go, 100%. But if money, weight, size, transportation, if those are issues for you, then you can't beat the QSC KS118. That's my opinion. That's what I feel, and that's what I think about it. I hope you guys enjoyed the sound test. If you guys did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. While you subscribe, hit the bell button so that you can get notified about new videos that I bring out. I just decided to get the RCF 8004 because I wanted a white setup and I wanted a black setup. I didn't go for the Evox 12 because the kind of events that I do where I want to use my white setup, the Evox 12, the LD Maui 44 G2s, the EV ELX 200Ps, all those kind of systems that come in white, yeah, they're not going to cut it for me. They will limit real quickly they will clip real quickly, they will sound distorted real quickly. They just won't be able to handle the kind of events that I do where I'll be using my white setup. That's why I got the QSC system and I customized it in white for myself. It's professionally done, fantastic. It looks good, it looks clean, beautiful stuff. So that's what I feel. It's DJ Flow Tunes, bringing life to the party always. I hope you guys enjoyed the sound test, and I hope it has been able to help my fellow folks out there who are trying to make a decision on what to do or trying to get a feel for what both subwoofers actually sound like. Take it easy, guys. It's DJ Flow Tunes.